How long might Cole Strange be out of action for your New England Patriots? Stick around. You're about to be locked in to the Locked On Patriots podcast.
You are Locked On Patriots, your daily New England Patriots podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello to all of you Foxborough faithful, and thank you once again for making Locked On Patriots a daily part of your New England Patriots coverage and also your first listen each and every day. Remember, Locked On Patriots is not only a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, but we are also free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. So smash that subscribe button and download and follow Locked On Patriots wherever you get your podcasts to ensure that you're getting the latest episode as soon as it's available. I'm your host, Mike Debate. I cover your New England Patriots for the Patriots Country. So reach out to me and let me know what's on your mind on X at MDABATENFL. And while you're out there showing some love to Locked On Patriots social media style, please be sure to follow our account there as well at LO_Patriots. And Pats fans, today's episode brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Pats fans, as your New England Patriots continue to progress through OTAs in Foxborough on the practice fields adjacent to Gillette Stadium, injuries are on the mind of everyone, especially the injury to left guard Cole Strange. How long will he be out? What type of injury did he incur? And what does it mean for his future prognosis? Well, folks, today we've got the man with the answers here to answer all of your questions, not just about Cole Strange, but injured Patriots such as Christian Gonzalez, Kendrick Bourne, Matthew Judon. He is a doctor of physical therapy, as well as being the publisher of BangedUpBills.com, also handling injury analysis for all of the AFC East. Dr. Kyle Trimble joins me today. Dr. Trimble, thank you so much for joining me today. Welcome back to Locked On Patriots.
Mike, thanks for having me back on. Glad to talk Patriots injuries tonight.
Absolutely. And unfortunately, injuries are always the name of the game, Kyle, whenever we talk about NFL teams. And the Patriots had their share of injuries last year. It wasn't a pretty season. 4-13 never is. And injuries were not the only reason for the Patriots' struggles last year. But I think we'd probably be doing the team a disservice not to mention the fact that injuries to several key players prevented this team from maybe being a little bit better. But hey, that's the hand that the Patriots were dealt, and now they're going to have to move forward. And Kyle, unfortunately, the Patriots already starting off with some interesting injury news, potentially bad injury news, and that is Cole Strange. Cole's status got a bit clearer on Tuesday. NFL Network reporting may miss the start of the 2024 season. He actually may be out until the middle of the season. And of course, folks, we all remember the injury to Cole Strange, Week 15 matchup versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Cole incurred the injury with just under 11 minutes to play in the second quarter. Bailey Zappi completes a 6-yard touchdown pass to tight end Hunter Henry. But prior to the play, Strange suffered what appeared to be a lower leg injury. Now we know that it's apparently a patellar tendon injury. My question to you is, with the ups and downs that Cole has had, the type of injury that he has, are we potentially looking at a time frame that might put his return to the field closer to the start of the season, or are we possibly looking at midseason before he's ready to go?
Well, midseason might be optimistic, considering a patellar tendon injury. You highlighted how he injured the knee. He got bull rushed by Chris Jones coming up the middle, and what happened was Strange tried stepping back with his left foot, and he was trying to keep his leg extended to hold because he was right in front of Bailey Zappi so he can get the pass off. Unfortunately, when he planned that left leg, he tried to keep the leg extended. Jones kept pushing him back, and that lengthening under tension, that eccentric contraction, tore the patellar tendon, which is the tendon that connects the kneecap down to the tibial tuberosity on the bottom of the tibia, or excuse me, on top of the tibia, but where they connect there. So that's going to be really one of the key points that allow the knee to extend out straight and even bend it there. That acts as the kneecap acts as a fulcrum for the knee. So the quad still could work if it connected there, but it wouldn't be as powerful as effective there. So when you have that tear, you're putting a lot of stress through that very thick ligament. and it's going to take a long time for him to really come back. There wasn't anything Strange did wrong. The tendon/ligament, it was just overpowered and it did tear. So a mid-season return would be optimistic because these injuries can take up to a year to return back from. The return timeline can be anywhere as high as 80% for guys come back. Higher drafted players do come back at a higher rate just because the talent's there. They're going to put more time and effort into getting these guys back, but it's not like you can flip a switch and say, hey, your first round talent, get back out there and play at the previous amount there. It's just a slow, long recovery because there's just so much demand coming off of the anchor point. And it's when you're asking the quads to do as much as it's doing with extending the leg, it's just a slow recovery.
Yeah, great insight when it comes to the type of injury that Cole has had. And look, from a logistical standpoint on the field, it's important to know that because Cole is at his best as a run blocker. He's a tenacious run blocker. That's what the Patriots saw in him when they wanted to bring him in from Tennessee, Chattanooga. And he's done that when he's healthy on the field. He's got that quickness. He can generate sudden impact on power runs and be able to protect those and block for them. And he's displayed an ability to seal the defenders on zone runs. This is a guy that is very good in outside zone concepts. And one of the things that I'm most disappointed about, and I spoke about this a little bit yesterday on Locked On Patriots, is the fact that he was just starting to come into a situation where I believe he was ready to thrive under Alex Van Pelt. That's the type of offense he likes to run, and he likes to incorporate the outside zone. So unfortunately, it looks like it might be a little bit longer, and that is definitely news to us that midseason might be a little bit optimistic for Cole. Naturally, Kyle, my follow-up question is going to be, if midseason is optimistic and we might be looking at even longer, could this keep him away from the field for the remainder of the season? What's the prognosis for him long-term at this point? Do the Patriots need to be worried about that?
Yes and no. We'd want to see how he responds to rehab, and I know that he's taken month to month, as Jared Mayo had put it. And like I mentioned, it's a slow recovery. Mid-season return is optimistic. I think he'll come back at some point because they do want to get those guys out there. He's going to probably be an excellent candidate for PUP. He's going to probably go through the whole 6 weeks. I believe that's what it is now because they keep changing it. And it might just come down to, let's get him out there. Can he move? Can he move without pain? Can he do all the football-related activities he needs to? So hopefully we'll start seeing him at mid-season where he's maybe out to the side doing some extra work, and maybe they open up his practice window to see what he can do. Even when he does come back for 2024 season, I would temper your expectations. I would say, hey, the fact he's back out there playing at all would be a win. So don't say, this guy's garbage because he's not playing well. He's coming off a major knee injury. He needs his legs to stabilize and keep his base underneath him to block effectively. It's going to be tough. It's going to take time to really get that confidence back underneath the leg. It's going to take the ability to really push forward and know that the leg's not going to give out on him. It's a pretty tough injury to deal with and to begin with. Like, it takes an immense amount of force to tear it in the first place. So when you're coming back, especially a high level athlete like that, just to know that you can trust that the leg's not going to give out on you again is a whole mental mind game. So the fact that if he gets out there at all is going to be a win for him. We might not return to form until 2025, when he has a full season to actually get back up to shape in terms of off-season training. 2026, we might see that return to what he was, that first round draft pick that they selected him on. I know that's a little ways out, and that's not great to hear, but it just sometimes these injuries see year 2 and year 3 kind of return back to normal. So year 1 is, if you're out there, great, that's a win, and move on.
Yeah, without any question. And definitely tough news for Patriots fans at this point. And of course, anything is possible on the football field and in the training room. We're going to be keeping a very sharp eye on Cole's progress from here on in, but patellar tendons are very serious. And when I heard that yesterday and I saw your tweet, first thing that I thought of was this could end up being a little bit worse than maybe Patriots fans are thinking. And now hearing your analysis definitely brings that into sharp contrast. And Kyle, I also think it feeds very much into what the Patriots are doing on the field, bringing City So and maybe moving him over to the left. Again, I spoke about this yesterday on the pod. I was against that. I figured that if Cole is coming back at some point this year and he's going to be on the field, you don't want to move a right guard that graded among the highest in the league last year at the position as a rookie and then move him over and have him learn a new position. But the left side is going to be so vital this year because the Patriots are dealing with a new left tackle. It's not going to be Trent Brown. And either Caden Wallace, the rookie, or Chuck Sikorafor, the veteran, are not used to playing on the left side. They're used to playing on the right. So you're going to want some continuity and somebody that can handle the load at the left guard position. It would make sense if they're going to move City So over. I stand corrected on my assessment yesterday. That may make a little more sense than I gave it credit for. And, of course, you got the rookie Layden Robinson now. Texas A&M did a great job on the right side there. Maybe he goes in, plays the position he's more comfortable with, and they move City over. But it's looking like Cole Strange may be on the shelf for quite some time. We're going to continue to monitor it, and as we get more information in, you know we're probably going to have Kyle back to explain it all. You don't want to hear me explain patellar tendon injuries. This guy is going to give us his expert opinion. So, Kyle, thank you for setting the record straight on Cole. And, of course, here at Locked On Patriots, we wish him the very best and hope for a speedy recovery as possible. But, Kyle, it's not just about Cole Strange's injury. The New England Patriots at OTAs right now have their sharp eye on a number of players that prematurely ended their season last year with injuries of their own. One of the more prominent of those players is former rookie cornerback, now second-year cornerback, Christian Gonzalez. Christian's got a brand new number. He's going to be wearing 0 just like he did at Oregon. Is it a new beginning? And what can we expect coming back from his shoulder injury? Kyle Trimble is going to break that down and more when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast continues, a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Locked On listeners, I'm really excited today to tell you about our sponsor, Yahoo Finance, because when it came to my financial future, I thought I had done it all. I saved, I researched, I invested all that I could, but I still had a lot of questions, and I wasn't sure of that next step. With Yahoo Finance, I took my investments to the next level. I wasn't a seasoned investor, but Yahoo Finance gave me all the tools and data I needed all in one place. And most importantly, they gave me the extra guidance I needed most. Because with a community of over 90 million users each month, their real strength is helping you on your way to financial freedom. For comprehensive financial news and analysis, visit the brand behind every great investor, yahoofinance.com, the #1 financial destination. yahoofinance.com. That's yahoofinance.com. Patriots fans, thank you once again for joining us here today on Locked On Patriots. And joining me in the hot seat today is Dr. Kyle Trimble, a doctor of physical therapy, the publisher of Banged Up Bills, and also an AFC East injury expert and a great friend of the program. We've had Kyle on several times, and we definitely appreciate all of his insight when it comes to Patriots injuries. He's already given you some interesting and maybe even a little disturbing information on Cole Strange, but Kyle, the Patriots could use some good injury news. And it seems like, I don't want to put words in your mouth just yet, but it seems like the prognosis is going well on one Christian Gonzalez. Of course, Christian was off to a great start last year in his rookie season. Unfortunately, his season cut short after jamming his shoulder in a tackle attempt in the Pats' Week 4 matchup with the Dallas Cowboys. Looked like he was attempting to tackle running back Tony Pollard. 1st and 10 from New England 25, Gonzalez awkwardly jamming his shoulder. He ends up leaving the game, subsequently diagnosed as suffering a torn shoulder labrum. Christian confirmed earlier this year that he had off-season surgery to repair it, and he also indicated that he believes that it's in the past. He's healthy. He's excited to go, but he had to stop short from saying he's medically cleared or that there are no problems left. So what should Patriots fans realistically expect from Christian Gonzalez in training camp, in the preseason, and most importantly, into the regular season?
The biggest thing I would expect from him right now is just knock the rust off. He's been almost a year of football, and not because that he chose to stay out. It's just because that the fact that they went to go to surgery, because that was a smart choice, looking at him being a young player as a potential key cog moving forward there. So the tear must have been significant enough. They said, hey, let's do surgery. And in a lost season, even early on, they said, let's go get the surgery, get him repaired. His running, the ability to juke and keep up with players isn't really a big issue. It's going to be the hand fighting and ability to tackle. That's going to be the one thing that we're going to see him maybe be slow to knock the rust off of. And go back to what you said, that he was trying to tackle Tony Pollard. It's just unfortunately the way he fell. He fell with his arm outstretched, that when his hand hit the ground, that dislodged the humerus from the glenoid, the labrum, and that tore the labrum. The labrum is the cartilage encapsulation of the shoulder and helps keep it deep in the socket and keep it from dislocating more often there. So they repaired it. The chances of re-tear are anywhere from 13 to 26%. There are some studies out there show that once you have one instability event, there is a future instability event. But I see that more with like offensive, defensive linemen where they're blocking more often and have their arms out straight there. So I'm not too concerned about Gonzalez once he gets back up to speed and once he gets his legs underneath him. But it's just unfortunate that it happened. I don't see there's really any big problems with him moving forward, and just it's unfortunate what happened last year.
Yeah, without any question. And that is definitely good news because, look, you're looking at a guy that is known for his lockdown ability to be able to seal off an opponent's best wide receiver. And he did this last year a number of times. You look at the guys he had to go up against. He went up against Tyreek Hill, A.J. Brown, Garrett Wilson. I mean, these are alpha receivers for their given teams. And three of the guys that I just mentioned are three of the top wide receivers in the NFL. He allowed only 10 catches, 102 yards on the 74 routes for which he provided coverage. So his ability to lock down, knowing that that's not going to be overly affected by this, is good news for the Patriots. Where it becomes problematic or where it becomes something that Patriots fans need to keep an eye on is his ability to tackle. 17 total tackles, 3 pass breakups, had an interception, and he really, I think he had one of the plays of the year in terms of his own highlight reel, getting a corner blitz on Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts. That was a lot of fun to watch. I know Patriots fans want to see that type of Christian Gonzalez back. It may be a few weeks before we start to see that and he starts to really get his legs and obviously gets his shoulder back under him and he feels comfortable. We may not see that type of Christian this year. We may have to wait a year to see that type of production on the field, but just having him out there and in the defensive backfield is going to be huge. Kyle, it sounds like he's turning the corner and really making strides in terms of his return to the field. Patriots fans still want to know, are there any lingering concerns of long-term issues with this? If they do rush him back to the field or he comes back too quickly, can he hurt it anymore by playing on it?
I think they're going to be smart and not rush him back. And the fact that this happened early October, and by the time we get to July, and they're not going to really be hitting until mid-August, he'll be clear to the point where he'll be able to absorb the contact, he'll be able to block, he'll be able to tackle, do everything he needs to. That shoulder should be stable enough and strong in there. As long as there wasn't any additional crazy damage where there's additional rotator cuff stuff or there was a fracture, like we've seen with a few other players. As long as there wasn't anything unknowingly going on in there, he should be good to go. And like I said, the biggest thing is just Russ getting his legs back underneath him, but that's why training camp is there. So I don't have really any concerns with him moving forward there. I think it's just an unfortunate situation. And once he gets the rust knocked off in training camp, he should be good to go week 1. And he should get back to pretty close to the prior level of performance we saw in his rookie year. Do we want to see him taking a leap into the second year, especially being a former first-round pick? Sure. That leap might come in the second half of the season as the game slows down for him. But in terms of physical ability and chance to re-injure, I'm not too concerned about it.
Yeah, and that's great news for Patriots fans. And it stands into reason with what Christian had to say last week when we spoke to him at Gillette Stadium. And he told reporters, I'm just going to do what I go out there to do. If I get my shoulder back right, I learn the playbook, be around the guys. A lot of it is mental, and that does feed into what you said. A lot of it is mental and just feeling his ability, knocking the rust off, and getting back to a point where he's not worried about injuring the shoulder every single time he goes in to make a tackle or he goes in to make a move, a football move. Those are things that will take some time, but this kid can trust his technique. He'll go out there, and it's all about confidence. And Christian Gonzalez has a good amount of that. Not overconfidence, but just enough to be able to be an alpha on the field. And he's definitely going to be needed in that backfield. The Patriots defense did a good job of being able to weather the storm of a 4-13 season last year. That defense could have been even better with a full year of Christian Gonzalez. We want to see that Defensive Rookie of the Month for September. It was his first NFL award. The Patriots fans definitely hope that's not going to be his last. But Kyle, I am not quite through with your cross-examination just yet, my friend, because there are a couple of Patriots that suffered injuries last year, and they want to know when these guys will be back and at full strength on the field. One's a defender, one's a wide receiver. Yeah, folks, we're talking about Kendrick Bourne and Matthew Judon, and we're going to talk about them next when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast wraps up right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Listen up, Locked On listeners. The NFL schedule is out. You want to get tickets to watch your favorite team in Foxborough in their home opener in September against Seattle, but you just can't find an easy and affordable way to do it. Well, you shouldn't have to worry when you're buying tickets to your next big event. Choose Game Time, because with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying NFL tickets. And the Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. So again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONNFL. That's LOCKEDON NFL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Patriots fans, thank you once again for joining us here today on Locked On Patriots, talking all things Patriots injuries. And here today is the expert of the AFC East, my good friend, Dr. Kyle Trimble, publisher of BangedUpBills.com, and also a doctor of physical therapy and a great friend of the program. And Kyle has already given us interesting information on Cole Strange and, of course, encouraging information on Christian Gonzalez. But there were a couple of other New England Patriots who had their seasons prematurely ended last year. Inquiring minds want to know. They want to know when these guys are going to be healthy and be able to be back out on the field. Receiver Kendrick Bourne and linebacker Matthew Judon. We'll start with Judon for a second because we'll stay in the defensive mode considering we're talking about Gonzalez, and we'll talk about Judon first. Matthews suffered an injury last season against the Dallas Cowboys, the same game, that Week 4 game that Christian Gonzalez went down. He left the game with 13:45 left in the fourth quarter. He was attempting to make a tackle on 2nd and 11 at the Dallas 25. It looked to me, and even when I watched this in preparation for our conversation today, I looked like he's got his arm caught on a Cowboys blocker. He fell to the ground, remained down. He's holding his elbow in the forearm area. You knew something was up when he went to the medical tent, immediately goes back to the locker room. And Matthew described it shortly after it happened when he had the opportunity to speak to the media. And he says it felt like a rubber band hit him. It was hurting. He couldn't really bend it. He was trying to get the pads off, trying to get the jersey off, and he just couldn't do it. We now know that he suffered a torn biceps, and he's been on the shelf since then. Now, Matthew's given hints that his rehab and recovery has been going well. With a torn biceps, what should Patriots fans realistically expect from Matthew Judon? When should we expect to see him back out on the field?
What I expect to see from Matthew Judon is a return to prior level performance. I have zero concern with Judon returning. The only concern, if I did have to come up with one, is how old is he? But I don't think he's that old, and he still is playing at a high level from linebacker standpoint. So, like you mentioned, he was trying to complete a tackle. His arm got caught in there, and that's going back to, like I said, with Cole Strange with that eccentric retraction. This time it happened at the distal bicep, so it's that tendon that connects into the forearm from the bicep region. So what happened was he was trying to wrap up his tackle. His forearm got pushed out backwards or straightened out. That eccentric retraction, that lengthening of the muscle, the tendon, tore that area. And unfortunately, for a distal biceps tear, that's not something you can play through. You just lose all function to bend the elbow altogether. So I know at the time he had said that he was going to try to come back, I think, in 2 months. And that was just ridiculous that he wanted to try to do that. I mean, I applaud him on being optimistic. But as a Bills fan, we heard that from Von Miller all the time. And that act got real old real quick there. I'm sure Patriots fans could agree with me on that there. So Matthew Judon being optimistic, they come back last year. He wasn't going to ever come back. And the fact that he's well on his way to get back to normal is good. The bicep tears are just something unfortunate. There might be some minor grip strength deficits. It might have some difficulty turning his hand initially, sometimes hand fighting. Well, we're talking pretty minor stuff. He's still going to go back out there and wrap up tackles and play coverage. And I really have zero concern with him. I don't want to see him as a Bills fan, but he's going to be just fine for you guys this year.
That's great news for Patriots fans. And look, Matthew Judon, definitely one of the heart and soul guys in this locker room. And he's going to be a welcome addition back into that front seven, especially because of the way he rushes the passer. And of course, as I talked about a couple of days ago here on Locked On Patriots with my good friend Thomas Murphy, he's a facilitator. He's a guy that's going to make the job easier for Christian Barmore and for Josh Uche and guys that depend on that type of talent on that edge in order to be able to move and do what they need to do. Christian to take on the double teams, Josh to get after the quarterback and get sacks. Without Judon in the lineup last year, Patriots really suffered. Josh Uche definitely suffered. And look, you're talking about taking away one of the Patriots' core guys when it comes to versatility and adaptability. His on-field awareness is as important as his athleticism because it puts him in position to keep runs from reaching those corners on early downs. It's not just about what he brings in the passing game. Matthew Judon is also a big-time facilitator in the run blocking game as well, in the run defense game as well. So this is something that is great news for the for Pats fans. And on the periphery, it's definitely good for the Patriots on the field. He's the face of the franchise right now. When you look at placards for the New England Patriots, it's that number 9 with the red sleeves. So we want to see him back out. Hopefully that will be the case. The only thing keeping him off the field, it sounds like, folks, is maybe a little contractual dispute. Unfortunately, that's not Kyle's area of expertise. Stick around. Someone who does know a thing or two about contracts and finance going to be joining us next week. Yeah, definitely mark that one down, folks. You're not going to want to miss that. But bottom line, Kyle, thank you for the update on Matthew Judon. And I know you made Patriots fans smile. And let's see if we can bring it home with a smile today. Not putting too much pressure on you, bud. But another fan favorite that suffered a season-ending injury last year was wide receiver Kendrick Bourne. Now, Kendrick's injury was a torn ACL. Suffered that in New England's 31-17 loss to the Miami Dolphins. Suffered the injury on the first play of the fourth quarter. He was attempting to secure a 3rd and 9 catch at the Pats' 16-yard line, and you kind of knew it right from the moment it happened. And obviously, ACL injuries are the toughest on quarterbacks and the toughest on receivers because of the way they need to play, the acceleration, the cuts, all of that. It's very difficult for a receiver to come back and be 100% as effective as they were before the injury happened. And we've talked about ACL injuries before, you and I here right on these airwaves, and you have mentioned that it does take sometimes months, maybe even a year before a receiver is back to where he used to be prior to the ACL injury. I know Kendrick is the type of guy that wants to get back out on the field as quickly as possible. Gerard Mayo has said he will not take part in OTAs. I don't think there was anybody surprised by that. I think that's the right move. But when you talk about when we might see Kendrick Bourne back out on the field, do you think it's realistic training camp preseason, or are we probably looking into the regular season before we see number 84 on the field for the Pats?
That's a good question, just because there's some variables go into that. We know they tore the ACL. Was there meniscus involvement? Was there MCL? Was there cartilage damage? We don't know any of that stuff, and that's what makes it more difficult there. And if you have any of that stuff, that could lengthen the recovery timeline and affect how he comes back there. So preseason, that's probably pushing it. He might, I can't say for certain he won't be ready week 1, but that's even still pushing because we know the injury happened late October. So you're looking at November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July. It's going to be really tough. I see them probably being a little more conservative, especially with them being a young team. They have Demario Douglas, they have Jalen Polk, they have Tyquan Thornton. They have a lot of other guys they can lean on right now. If his recovery isn't, I don't want to say isn't going smoothly, but if they want to really be smart about it, maybe they start him on PUP and just let him kind of ease his way in and get him closer to the year mark, or at a point where they can say, hey, we can get out there and give him limited reps. I wouldn't be rushing him, especially with all the turnover they have. And, he has the ability to come back and play well. He would be okay on deep routes. He'd be okay on, simple, turn and catch routes. The problem would be is if he's trying to cross over the middle or trying to juke guys and push off the right knee, he's just not going to have that explosion right away. we do see the research that the decline in performance isn't all that significant coming off the first season after the ACL tear, but we have seen enough guys that aren't the same coming off the ACL tear, and they're just slow to kind of get back up to speed. Biggest example recently is Odell Beckham. He was kind of off that first year after he tore his ACL in the Super Bowl. In fact, he even played the following year. So it took him a while to get back up to speed, but now he's kind of back up that normal, Odell Beckham, certainly a lot older. It's just going to take time for him. I would just kind of keep watching reports and kind of see where he's at with what they're doing practice-wise with him. And then the big things get whether they start him on PUP to begin the regular or the preseason, and then how they progress him with that there. But being that he's going to be 9-10 months, removed from the injury at week 1, that's really cutting it close. They're not going to bring him back before week or 9 months. So the preseason is probably out at that point. And then you're probably looking at to ramp up the football speed and whatnot. I'm leaning toward him maybe just starting the season on PUP just to kind of give him the extra time frame. You get the extra roster spot, and then let him kind of get back out there. And once he should return, he's not going to be the top option, or doesn't need to be, so that he can kind of ease himself back in. So I'm optimistic he's going to return to form. It might take him some time, and we'll see more flashes the second half of the season. But why rush him, especially when you got all that talent on the roster right now, and you have younger guys you want to develop?
That's a very, very good point, Kyle, and I'm glad that you made that, because the Patriots right now are looking to break guys into this wide receivers core. I know it gets a lot of ribbing in the national media and even in the local media for not being up to the challenge, but the Patriots do have some young guys on this roster right now that want to make a name for themselves. Obviously, Demario Douglas did so last year as their top receiver, and he'll continue to be a top option for them in 2024. Jalen Polk, Javon Baker, 2 guys they brought in via the draft. A lot of high hopes for these guys. I think the Patriots have 2 good wide receivers and 2 budding weapons potentially for Drake May that can be effective players in this system for many years to come. You're going to want to develop them a little bit. Then there are guys that are right now on the periphery, guys like Jalen Reagor and Kayshon Boutte. Essentially, Boutte will only be there if there is no repercussions from his off-the-field troubles. That's a conversation for another day. KJ Osborne now coming in from the Minnesota Vikings. He can be someone that I think the Patriots can rely on. So they do have bodies in that receivers room that can help mitigate the temporary loss of a guy like Kendrick Bourne and allow him the time he needs to come back. But Kendrick is one of those guys that can align at any position, and he can win his battles at any position. And he's going to be wanting to get back out there as soon as possible. Good stuff on Kendrick Bourne, Kyle. We're definitely keeping our sharp eye on him. Matthew Judon, Christian Gonzalez, all of these guys we expect to see at some point throughout the year for the New England Patriots. And, of course, all eyes will continue to be on Cole Strange. And we thank you for the update on all 4 major Patriots injuries. Folks, we know there are a lot of other walking wounded in the Patriots locker room. Good news, Kyle is a friend of the program. He'll be back soon. In the meantime, I want to thank you, Kyle. You always lend your wisdom and counsel the way only you can. We appreciate having you here on Locked On Patriots. Make sure to follow Dr. Kyle Trimble on Twitter at BangedUpBills. And, of course, follow all of his great work at BangedUpBills.com. And, Kyle, we look forward to having you back here on these airwaves on Locked On Patriots sooner rather than later to discuss the remainder of the walking wounded in the Patriots locker room. Until then, folks, I'm Mike DeBate, and I continue to remind you to stay safe and to stay well and to be the change you wish to see in the world. Have a great day, everyone, and we'll see you back here again tomorrow on Locked On Patriots.